This is my bug out bag. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Now, a lot of folks talk about bug out, get home, go bags, blackout bags, all sorts of bags that you can create, you can make. And I don't think I would recommend this be one of the first, maybe not even the second bag that you make for emergency prepared situations. I would probably say that your first priority should be a blackout bag, which is a bag that can sustain you and your family for about 72 hours inside of your house. Next would probably be some type of get home bag so that you can walk home from any number of scenarios that you might be in, even something that can be as pedantic or as very pedestrian as getting stuck in a parking lot, all the way to if your vehicle breaks down. This would probably be third or tertiary on the list when it comes to emergency preparedness, but I'll talk about this one. A few months ago, I did an urban get home / urban bug out bag for one of my buddies, and he was on a budget. And a lot of that stuff that I put in that bag was budget friendly, stuff that I normally wouldn't choose, but this one's geared towards me. Now let's talk about some things before we jump into the bag itself. First of all, I always recommend that your physical fitness is something that can handle whatever you decide to put together. This bag weighs 42 pounds completely kitted out. And this doesn't even include if I were to add some shoes or a poncho or some shirts or pants or trousers or whatever to this. My assumption is I would have access to that stuff because it's a actual bag that's hanging in my garage, but you may decide to add that stuff here as well. So if you can't handle walking with something like this for 10 to 30 miles, you're gonna wanna work on it. You're gonna want to learn how to ruck and actually carry your own weight. Secondly, for the love of goodness gracious, would you please get yourself some type of analog watch? Because as much as we like our smart watches, we love our Apple Watch and our OnePlus and our, all the different TicWatch, everything that we're big fans of. This can be a life-saving device to have in an emergency situation. You can use it as a knife. You can use it as a compass. You can keep time. It helps you with mundane tasks. You can use it for sharpening knives. There's so many things you can do. I'll link a video that I did recently that talks about how an analog watch or a field watch can save your life especially compared to your smartwatch. So that being said, those are the two things that I think are important. Other things you might think about is keeping a knife on you or keeping fire directly on your person. Those are probably not as important to me personally as the first two things that I mentioned. Now, this is the Eberlestock Jacknife. This is the bag that I've decided to use for this specific scenario. As we mentioned before, my bug out system is slowly starting to change. It used to be the Yeti Panga 75. Everything was in one bag, and Mrs. X has come around to actually loading a bag herself. So now we're going in individual bags in a bug out system. This is the bag that lives on me for bug out. And for Mrs. X, hers will probably either be the Jacknife or something else from Eberlestock. It was between this and the Go Rug GR2 Dyneema. I went with this one because of literally for two reasons. One, it had outboard water bottle pockets. Doesn't sound super important, but it's super important to me. Secondly, this includes a chest cinch. As much as I like the GR2 Dyneema, which is laying around here somewhere, it doesn't include a chest cinch, which is a Go Ruck. It's a bag meant for rucking. Once you get that thing weighed down, you want to be able to keep the weight high, at least for me. Some people like the weight low, I don't know why, but I like the weight high. And this also has cord keep or cord control. So once you start to cinch down cordage and stuff like that, you can actually control the cordage with built-in Velcro that they have versus the Go Rug. But we'll probably do a full review on this bag when that time comes. I think it affords that. This thing hangs in my garage using a hero clip. We'll talk about everything that I keep on this thing. It rucks wells. It feels good on the back. It's very low key. It does look like a hiking bag, but it doesn't look super tactical. I got it in the color gray in an attempt to go gray, man. How well is that gonna work when it's it's literally a situation, depending on the situation, it just all depends. Now, let me list from least significant to highest significance of when you're gonna need a bag like this. Lowest is probably an attack from another country. not highly likely to happen, but if you want to bug out or something like that, I'm thinking about whole way Red Dawn Wolverine type stuff, low likelihood to happen. Next on the list is probably like an EMP or some type of way where there's a large scale attack. It can be within the country or foreign or domestic, where you want to, you no longer have access to your normal goods. You can have Faraday bags. You may have an old microwave with important stuff inside of it. I have an EMP shield on my truck. I think about that stuff, but it's a low likelihood of happening. Next on the list is civil unrest, urban unrest, wherever you are. It's likely to happen. We had some stuff like that happen here in the Dallas Metroplex a few years ago. You never know when something like that may happen. You have to bug out of your location, even if it's just temporarily. But the most likely reason for a go bag or a bug out bag is going to be weather related. If you're on the Keys, if you're in the Outer Banks, if you're on some type of barrier island, if you're in a tornado area, earthquake area, wherever, and you need to bug out of your location and you can't use a vehicle, a bike, a scooter, even if you can use that stuff, this could be a good bag to accompany you through that trip. So that's why I chose the Eberlestock Jacknife for that. Shout out to Eberlestock for sending this thing out. This thing has been working out really well for me. So before we dive into what I actually keep in and on the bag, the things I like most about it for rucking or for carrying purposes, look at this mesh webbing back. Just see how thick that is? This makes it so enjoyable. And I've rucked a lot of different bags, whether it be from 511, Vertex, Go Ruck. This is probably one of the most comfortable features. It reminds me of bags I had when I was in the Marine Corps, except those didn't have like the air mesh on it. They were a little bit different. This is super duper comfortable. They also bring over that same air mesh like webbing stuff onto the actual shoulder straps on the inside. That makes for great stuff. When I do the full review of this bag, I'll talk about the specs. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's made of. I forgot off the top of my head. Shame on me. But I will tell you that it's super comfortable for rucking purposes. Let's talk about what's on the shoulder straps themselves. So first off, on this side, we actually keep a condor pouch with a little bit of pepper gel. You can get pepper spray, you can get mace. I like pepper gel because it doesn't create as big of a cloud around it when you actually use it. If you decide to buy something like this, I highly advise that you actually spray it, get your body used to having to fight or walk through the cloud of pepper gel. Don't let that be the first time you ever experience it. If you have to use it on someone else, it's not gonna be a very pleasant experience. Nothing else on this shoulder strap on purpose. I don't wanna accidentally deploy this thing, so I keep it completely by itself. On the left shoulder strap, I actually keep my lighting sources. So I keep the Phoenix. This is the PD35R. I like this because it has a rear tail switch, which makes it very useful for quick uses, and you can switch through different modes by just clicking on the smaller button that's next to it. The big button turns it on. Very long throw. It uses an 18650 battery, so if you want to keep an extra battery in here with you, you can. It's a spot beam instead of a flood. It's actually a combo. It has a very good spot. I can't remember the exact specs. I'll put them on the screen. I just know that the throw on this thing is very, very far. So if I want to be able to instantly spot for security work purposes, I can do that. Or if I need a very long throw to see the path ahead of me, I'm going to be able to do that. Next to that is a night eyes. This is a small green light that you would use for a number of reasons. You don't want to mess up your night vision if you're walking, you got your eyes used to the moonlight. Use a green light to illuminate the ground or the area around you if you're trying to open up a packaging for some food or something like that. Also, you can use this for map reading. You can use a red light for map reading as well, but you can use this light for map reading and not completely blow out your eyes. It also has different SOS modes and blinking modes and stuff like that. You can get these in green, white, and maybe blue. I know you can get them in green, white, and red. I think you can get them in blue as well. If you want to attach additional stuff to this thing, you can. There's some actual loops and extra on here if you want to. I run it naked. As I mentioned before, it does have a chest cinch, which I like that. It's adjustable by moving it up or down, however you see fit. So that makes life a lot easier. So up here in the grab handle, we actually keep a hero clip. Now this hero clip is durable. It can hold up to 65 pounds. That's why I leave this hero clip specifically designed for the leaving this thing hanging in my garage itself. I'm a big fan of the hero clip. Of course, I've talked about these things a ton of times. I got one, it's more of a muted color. It's like this blue in like green offset color. I just wanted something a little bit different, but these things hold a lot of weight. This one is the medium size. Yeah, medium size, and it holds 60 pounds. Here's one complaint I will say about the strap. Because of the hero clip, you can already see the indentation that I'm starting to create in the grab handle. And I mean, that's not a big deal, but whatever foam or padding inside of this, it feels like a great grab handle, but whatever is inside of this grab handle, I've already started to move it with the hero clip. So it hangs in my garage. The only time I move it is when I want to go ruck this bag, but it's just something to think about. Stuffed into that top area is my Haji rag. It's just a very large, like a swarmer, a big old rag that you can put. You can use a number of ways. Of course, you can use this to block the sun from you. You can use this to block, if you have dust or something like that to block, you can use this over your head yourself. Different ways that you can wrap this thing up and use it for an emergency scenario. And it's also humongous. So you can use this for, if you need to use this for a pillow. These type of rags just come in handy for a number of reasons. I'm a big fan of these. Initially, I started carrying one of these when I was in Afghanistan. Whenever I left the wire, now I just always keep one. They're bigger than bandanas. They cost more than bandanas. I think this is made of pashmina or cashmere. Don't quote me on that. I'll link it up down below. Anything I'm talking about, I'll link up down below as much as I can find to include the bag itself. If I can't find it, I'll try to list an alternative if possible. This bag is mentioned, if I didn't mention it earlier, this bag normally comes in about $200, which is pretty decent for something that is so comfortable for rucking purposes. So that might be super important to you because it's very important to me. Let's talk about this first water bottle compartment on the side here. So I do keep cinched down here the Grail GeoPress water bottle. This is a 24 ounce. This is a water filtration bottle, which allows for you to drink from all 7 continents. I don't know if they've taken this thing to Antarctica, but the purpose of it is you take this thing apart, you fill it to the fill line right here, and you press the filter through the water and you can immediately drink it. This also keeps you from having to bring a coffee filter with you because the chunky stuff can be filtered out to the bottom of the thing as well. So a little bit better than some other systems, but this is a pricey boy coming in at normally $100. And because it is so pricey, I just want to show you some alternatives whenever I can. This is one of their competitors called Pure Nova. I'm working on a test to see the number of Puritans left in the water after pressing it through both of these filters. But I'm pretty sure that these both are made in the same factory in China because even the wording on the bottom is like super duper similar. I'm almost confident that this Pure Nova company is just kind of making their own. I don't know. GeoPress, you might want to look into that. Same concept with this thing though. You fill it to the fill line, you press the filter through, and you drink the water directly. The filters look slightly different, but still the same concept for both. This one here, the filter, this is what you're going to be pressing through the water once you fill it through that fill line, and then that gives you 24 ounces of drinkable water. This one's rated for 300 presses, just like the GeoPress. You know, so it's a lot of similarities. I will say that the lid on the Pure Nova feels more plasticky. This feels like it has a rubber coating on the outside. It does have like a locking system, which you use this to press, and then it flips open and it goes down and it flips up. It just feels really cheap. Compared to the GeoPress, this is a actual kind of like a keep system for the actual cord itself. And that's how you kind of keep it where you want it. But if it were my money, after doing my testing and for the filtration purposes, I would probably go with the Pure Nova. Nothing else in this outboard pocket because it's pretty freaking full. One thing I'll say about this bag is that this pocket, both pockets share an inside pocket. So on the inside of this bag is a bunch of paracord, and I had to kind of really stuff that bottle in here. So be cautious on how you pack this thing out before you actually pull the trigger on buying it. Over here on the other side, this is a bug out bag. So some things when I bug out were immediately gonna go in my body. Some things are gonna stay on the bag. Some things my family and I 100% care about a lot. One of the first things going on my body is going to be a fixed blade. Most likely on my person is a folder. So I wanna have a fixed blade on me just to be able to quickly swap out and immediately be able to bang on stuff. As much as I like my Benchmade bailout, which is what I'm carrying today, this is not really conducive for hitting it with a log Whereas the MKC Montana Knife Company Speed Goat is a very capable, small Magna cut. So super rust resistant, easy to sharpen, holds an edge. You can hit this with a log, has a little bit of a paracord wrap on the outside. So I like this knife a lot. I'm really a big fan of its brother called the Blackfoot, and I carry that a lot. I like the fact this has quarters built in, so it's gonna allow for you to have a little bit. So I'm gonna take this immediately, run it through whatever belt that I'm wearing, and I will have my fixed blade knife. But what's important to my family, we're going into spring and summer months. If you're watching this in the future, even in the winter months, you're gonna want something like this. I think you should keep some DEET on you, some type of bug spray. So this is called Bug Soother. This is gonna be really good for, you can spray directly on your skin, you can rub it on your hands, you can rub it like all over the place. My bug out location is 32 miles away. And I don't know about you, I don't want to get bit the entire way there. And as we get closer to that location, it's a wooded area. I don't know. I don't know why I don't see more folks putting this type of stuff in their kits, but yeah, that's important to us. There's also more of that in the wife's kit as well. So next to that also is my favorite emergency radio. This is by Midland. This is the Midland, I forget what specific model this is, but this is my opinion, their best model. This one here has a very large solar recharging system. It recharges relatively quickly, probably takes about 6 to 8 hours to fully recharge. It has a hand wind, hand crank system, just like a lot of other of these emergency radios, but this one has a very high, I think this is like a high capacity, a very, very high, like a very durable plastic compared to some of the other ones I have. Big tactile buttons on it. And you can even just use this as a regular radio with FM, AM, and it has the emergency bands on it. Has a humongous flashlight in the very front. And it has a very long, capable way for you to actually receive signal with this thing. It works as a battery bank. So on the other side here, you can plug stuff up and charge things if you need to. And I think that's important. And one thing I don't see on a lot of these systems, it has a headphone jack. So if you need to be quiet, you still need to be able to hear for emergencies. You can plug up a pair of headphones in here and still use it. I don't know why more don't have this feature. And the last thing is along with the built-in battery, you can actually throw AA batteries in here as well. So it has a huge built-in 18650 battery, right? Which 18650 is pretty common. It's the same battery that's on that flashlight that I just showed you. But you can also throw AA's in here, and then there's an actual switch which tells the radio to go from the built-in battery to AA. So this is one of the best emergency radios I've seen built in a very long time. Much better than some of the Chinese-made ones I've seen. I think this is made in China as well, but it's just so well done. Outside of the bag has one small zipper pocket here. In this zipper pocket is a bunch of creature comfort stuff and stuff that I might need very fast access to. Whatever location we get to, I know, and I'll just pull everything else out of this area. One of the first things we have is, this is good for a couple of reasons. This is called the Go Zero. This is a crush light. It literally crushes down, and it's just a small light source that you can use or whatever. It has different lighting modes. It dims into different ways or whatever. But it also charges with has a solar power, or you can just plug up here in the charging port and use it there. You can buy these things where they're also battery banks, but the batteries in these things are so small that it would be like a super emergency battery bank. But what I like these for are a number of reasons. It gives ambient lighting for whenever you get to wherever you're going, if you're braking on the trail or if you get to your final location. It has different ways that you can clip this to your bag if you want to. But you can give this to your kids, and they have you can keep several of these, and the kids feel like they have a small light source with them. The batteries last easily all night long. And as well as you can use this to use a hero clip or something like that and hook it to the inside of a tent. So your kids can participate in their own survival. It's a small amount of ambient lighting to be able to read to or see, and it doesn't pump out a lot of light. It's very low likelihood I will need a multi-tool where I'm going, but just in case I do, I'm going to be bringing a Gerber MP600 with me. This is an American-made Gerber. I like it. This is the EOD version, which I don't need the COD, the C4 poke or prodder in here, but it will be good for if any specific reason I need to poke, push, pick at something or whatever. It's going to be nice to have this thing built in. But I'm a big fan of this multi-tool. I was first issued one of these when I was in the Marines. I thought it was extremely useful in Afghanistan for just random stuff, whether it had to do around an MRAP, packing a bag, using it to kind of give a little bit of tough love whenever you're using it. So I don't need this per se, but it's nice to have, and I have a lot of them laying around. They're relatively affordable. They're usually less than $100, made in America. You can use this one-handed. So if you have your hand on a workpiece, you can still actually deploy the multi-tool and still keep your hand on the workpiece and get to the pliers. The pliers themselves are okay. It does have the long nose. It does have like crimpers and cutters, and the kind of just like built into one, all into one cutter, multi-tool itself, or pair of pliers itself. The only thing I would say about this that kind of sucks is that you do have to open the multi-tool to get to every single tool. It does have a decent tool set though. It does have a file which is accessible on the side. You can still use it on the side. It has a serrated blade. It has a saw which is replaceable. It's actually a T-shank. So you can replace this even with some stuff from Gerber or whatever. You can replace that out, which I like. It does have a couple of bottle openers, can openers, a flathead, a slotted screwdriver rather, and it has Phillips built in. The biggest thing that I like about this though is hands down going to be the actual T-shank that's built in, so you can replace this out with whatever you see fit. And it does have a blade. I don't know what the blade is, but it's a built-in blade. But if you want to replace that with like if you need to replace the saw if it goes bad, or a serrated blade or something like that, this is a pretty useful tool to have with you. You never know if you're going to need something like that with you. A couple of snacks that are specifically with me are, I like Cliff Bars. You can put whatever snacks you see fit, but just something that you can kind of chew on. These have 250 calories if you were to eat the entire thing, but you can kind of like spread this out as you walk. They give you energy as well. So Cliff Bars are specifically designed to give you energy, which are helpful when you're rucking and walking. And then you also, so in my buddy's kit that I made, I think I got him a Stanley or maybe an Energizer headlight, but I decided to get myself a Petzl. I think they're very reliable. I like the way Petzl works, and Petzl's just really known for their light sources. This has more lighting modes than I made for my buddy, and it's just nice to be able to throw this thing on. Keep it on if you have to get to a campsite or work site. It has a tilting feature, so it makes it very reliable in here. And then I do keep more than one compass on here. So this is a Sunto base compass. I like a Lismatic compass as well, where I can shoot an azimuth, but I would use a compass like this. And once you get this thing unwound, you can throw it over your neck, keep it on your neck, and use this to navigate whichever way you're going, but keep your compass nearby. I keep a tiny survival guide because there's just gonna be shit I don't remember how to do, even if I was taught in the past, or I don't know how to do. And this can be something that's useful, that's, you know, different life-saving skills. It's gonna have like different gear checklists. It's gonna have different things that you might wanna keep on your cell phone, like download your maps, keep them downloadable so you can at least use your phone until it dies as downloaded maps. Expert tips, how to tie certain knots. So super tiny guide you can throw in your bag, open it when you need it. I don't even wanna open it and possibly lose the stuff inside. I have a larger survival guide that's in my truck, but this tiny one kind of just lives here. And so this here has more room if I want to put more stuff in this front pocket, but I want to just kind of keep it as is. Now, when these pockets are empty, you can actually use these as a compression if you want to. So if you want to just actually clip these on, you can take this and compress the bag down more if you wanted to, or if you had a longer item, you can actually use this to keep that item still. The very top of the bag does have a small quick access pocket here. Now, it's highly likely that I'm already gonna have a pair of sunglasses on me, but just in case, I do keep a pair of sunglasses up here. These are the Justins by Ray-Ban. These are polarized. I have the polarized lenses on this, but you can get them. They sell them in all sorts of ways, all sorts of colors. I like these the way they look specifically. They're made of mostly plastic, so I don't really have to worry about like high class or high quality materials breaking on me. These are made in Italy, pretty good quality. I like that they're polarized, it works for me. Here's one complaint about the bag though. All these pull keeps are the same, they're the same color, they're the exact same keep. And sometimes you can pull the wrong pull keep when you're trying to get into a specific area of the bag. Before I jump into like the main part of the bag, let's talk about why this thing is a unique bag itself. This is the Jacknife. You pull these zippers down here and the bag goes into a full clamshell mode and it opens up and exposes the entire rear of the bag. You can use this for CCW, which is not a very fast deployment, but you could use it for CCW. You can use this if you're going to be traveling with, and it's completely loop paneling, so you can use hook and loop features, different accessories if you want to attach it to it and all that good stuff. So if you want to put a holster in here that's Velcro, whatever you want to, it's whatever you want to. It's a blank canvas for you to use as you see fit. These are items that I don't necessarily need to get to as quickly. Mostly going to be used when I get to my main area, except for the top, the very item at the very top. So this is what the entire thing kind of looks like. Most of the items in here are not Velcroed in. So you got to kind of think about how you're going to put this in here. Once it's in here and the weight of the items on the main compartment are in here, nothing in here moves. But once it's open, if you don't have Velcro on the stuff moves around all over the place. The only thing I have loop panel on is my actual map holder here. This is an ESSI Adventure map holder. Plenty of companies make these. An additional compass here by the Asunto Base Camp compass, just in case my first one breaks or gets lost. And I have a map of the area for where I'm going to be walking to. So that's important. This is a map that you can, the reason that you want to have a dedicated map reader is so that your map won't get wet. So you can have something like this, print off an area from wherever you're going to be walking to. It's a larger scale map, then it zooms down to the specific area I'm going to be going to. I like the actual ESSI's, the Rando Adventure Company's map reader. It's made in the USA, but it does have additional pockets. One of them is even kind of hidden back here behind the compass. So if you want to put something in here like a pencil, which is good for fire starting, or if you need to mark on your map, you can put a pencil back here. Maybe you want to throw yourself a $20 bill or whatever. Back here, I just keep a small pencil and I keep a Rando Adventure Company's, a Write in the Rain notebook that kind of goes behind it. So if I need to take notes or whatever, it's back there. It's a nice compartment. You can't really see it. And in the front, you can put more stuff in here if you want to, but just like a very well-made little compartment. Once I'm moving, I can actually take that hero clip, and I can attach this to my shoulder strap and not even leave it back here. But I don't want it hanging from there at all times. So the rest of the items that are back here are, like I said earlier, are mainly used for when we get to a certain scenario or a certain situation. I don't need these always in the main compartment. So one of the first things here is my S-Wing. I do have an axe. Now, I like S-Wing. You can probably get a lot of different brands, but I like something that I'm very familiar with, that I've used before, and I have their maul, I have their larger size axe, so it kind of just makes sense for me to actually get the smaller axe or hatchet. And you can still use this in a number of ways. You can use this kind of like a maul if you put it back in its sheath, and while it's in its sheath, you have exposed to the back of it, so you can use this for hammering for whatever reason. But ESSI made in America. Not everything that S-Wing makes is made in America. This is. It's very durable. I'm a big fan of it. I almost cut my leg off on one of their mauls. So just be careful whatever you decide to get from them. So I would either go with something from them or go with something from Fiskars. I've had a lot of luck with both of those companies. I wouldn't go with a generic no name. So next to that, I talked about actually keeping on my person the Montana Knife Company, the Speedgo. If you can't get your hands on that Montana Knife Company because it's always sold out, another alternative you might want to take a look at is the ESSI #4, which I'm a big fan of this thing. It's a little bit bigger than the actual Speedgo. You can just tell even the Speedgo in its sheath is damn near a smaller knife, but I think that the Speedgo has a better blade steel. But you know, you can also look at the ESSI #4. It's an outdoor, it's made to be used outdoor type of knife, and I'm a big fan of this as well. But this is a knife to keep on your person. But if you're going to be doing like a lot of heavy duty uses out of your knife, if you're going to be trying to use it for whittling, cutting a lot of rope or whatever, then you can also keep an additional knife just in case you lose that main fixed blade knife. So I actually picked up, this is the Hogue EXF01, big old beefy knife that I was able to pick up. I love the tang on this. I love how big it is. I love the fact it's a little bit curved in your hands, a full size grip. It has like places for your fingers itself, and it's USA made. They actually include in the knife itself a way for you to remove the scales or tighten the scales, because they intend for you to hit this with logs. So as you hit this and bang on this, these actual screws may come loose. They include inside the actual knife a way for you to actually keep the actual Allen key built in. Glass breaker, which is actually kind of pointless, but it's a pointy edge, so you can use that if you need to make indentions for whatever. You can run paracord through here if you want to, or leave it naked. Big beefy knife, a lot of jipping up here so you can get up on the knife if you need to use it. I wish it didn't have a little bit of serration on it for cutting rope, and maybe that might be a reason I decided to get something different, but this is still a big chunky knife. But the main reason I really wanted it was for its sheath. The sheath just has a lot of capabilities. This Hogue sheath, it includes a little bit of built-in nylon at the very bottom you can use for different situations, create traps, even you run it through this knife for a lanyard to keep. I do have a quick release system, so I can attach this entire system to a bag or something else, and I can use this to quickly remove this if I want to. We keep a ferro rod at the very front here. We'll talk about an additional fire starting things. It has a built-in button compass here, so if you need to use this for starting a fire, you have these completely together. It does not come with this ferro rod, so you're gonna have to buy it and keep it. But this is a great, big, beefy, I think capable knife. It's not gonna be, I think, as good for whittling or creating tinder or stuff like that as the Montana Knife Company knife. That's why I have that, but I like to have redundancy. Now, in a bug out situation, if we're gonna be going somewhere and I wanna break into somewhere, if I wanna get into somewhere, I keep the Spec Ops. This is kind of like their breacher crowbar in here. And for the longest time, I actually was using the Reaper. I like the Reaper bar as well, but when I actually was using this, so there was an abandoned building that was gonna be torn down, and I wanted to test this and see which one had better leverage. The angle of the crow part, I guess is what you can say, is a lot better on the Spec Ops. And when I actually went to use it, it just felt a lot better using the Spec Ops because of the angle. It's wider, it's beefier. So I would say that if you're on a budget, you can get this Reaper. It does have a built-in knife as well, which is kind of a little bit nerve-wracking to use, because once you have this, even while it's sheathed and you're trying to wrench down on this thing, the Reaper feels super dangerous to use. But I still would recommend it because it does have that seatbelt cutter or gut hook, whatever you want to call it. It can be used for digging because of the way this thing is shaped. You can use this entire thing if you need to use it for digging. And then of course you can use it for cutting as well. So either one of these two are gonna be really good to go. I just kind of prefer at this point the Spec Ops. I might go back with the Reaper. It just really depends. Or maybe I'll throw this in the wife's pack and just to see how it feels overall. But Spec Ops, they make a lot of different things, and most of the stuff is made overseas. This feels really reliable. It kind of has like this pick feature here, a narrow puller on the other side. So this is a wrecking bar, but it's just very, very, very small wrecking bar. Once I get to my location, I want to have the ability to blind someone or have a ton of light. That's where we bring in the Streamlight. This is the ProTac HL5X. This is a big boy flashlight, puts out lots of lumen. This is basically a big spotlight, big batteries. It charges with micro USB. That's kind of its downfall, but I got the battery bank with this large NOAA radio. I kind of use that. This charges with the sun. I can charge this round robin. That's not bad. But I like this to be able to use this at our final site. Has a tons of lumens, way more lumens and way more throw than the light that's on my shoulder. So all this stuff lives in the very back of my bag. I like this because it creates a counterweight for the bag, so it allows the bag to sit upright. Without these items back here, the bag it does topple forward. So even if you don't put this stuff back here, if you want to put some type of rucking plate or clothing, that would be a good thing for this area back here is clothing. So if you want to keep a pair of trousers rolled up, a shirt rolled up in your bug out system, this would be good for that. I have other bags in my bug out system because we're a family. So it's just something to think about. If you are a single person, or if you're just a couple of people, it's just you and a spouse, it might be advantageous for you back here to keep a pair of trousers, maybe keep a shirt or something like that. As I mentioned earlier, this actual zippers are so similar to the main compartment zippers. I normally leave these zippers on the side of the bag, so there's no way that I would accidentally open this main compartment area, which I've done before. I think I might even wrap this up with like maybe some Velcro or a Ranger band or something like that. Or most likely I'll just change the pull tabs to something else. These are easily changed out and swapped out. I haven't thought about that yet, but that's probably gonna have to be the next thing. Now we jump into the main compartment, and make sure you hit the like button if you're liking this thing, if you're getting some good ideas from this. These are for idea purposes only. I'm not telling you this is exactly how you should do your bag. This works for me and my family. You might want to do something different for yours. So you can run, the side of the bag also has these areas where you can run bladders from it. I don't do that, but you can do that as well. So if we jump into the main part of the bag, here's my favorite part of the jackknife. It's not a clamshell. You're not gonna accidentally open this thing up and all your stuff's gonna go flying out of the bag. It's not gonna happen, okay? I like the fact that this thing here, you can see it's off balance because I took the stuff out and I'm gonna have to figure out the weight again. But I like the fact that this thing here, and once I put the water bottle back, it would probably be good to go. It doesn't fully clamshell. And so it allows for me, I know that most of the stuff inside this pack, I don't need while I'm bugging out, I don't need while I'm rucking. And the things that I need the most, I'll keep at the top of the pack, which is a med kit. So the very top of the pack, we do have our med kit. Now this med kit is a hodgepodge of items. So as we go through this, I'll kind of give you a snapshot of what this looks like real quick. So this is kind of everything that's in there. Pretty neat, pretty organized. And as I go through and I pull stuff out, I kind of show you what it all looks like. I'm gonna get rid of this and kind of move it out my way so I can talk about each item. Hence why we got the hero clip on this thing. All right, so that's holding this. Now, this is kind of like a hodgepodge of stuff, and this is where it's gonna be really important that you think about the things that you need for your family. This is a bag by VanQuest. You can buy this entire kit from Urban Medical Gear, and it's gonna be almost built up to how I have it. Or you can just buy the empty pouch from VanQuest and DIY it yourself. So we'll talk about some of the things that are done here. So first off, I do have an actual paracord keep with a little hook on the end. This is by Dango, the same folks that make the wallets. But you can get this thing and you can use this to clip this onto the outside of your bag, those two hooks that I mentioned on the shoulder straps. So now if I want to, as soon as I begin my ruck, if I want to keep the med kit nearby, I can take this and I can leave it here. I wouldn't do that because this would get on my nerves, but I mean, I could leave it hanging there if I really wanted to. I can hang it from somewhere else. So that's why I wanted this here. But you also can run MOLLE through it. If your pack itself has a MOLLE system, you can run MOLLE straps through it. All sorts of MOLLE built into it itself, so you can run different stuff to the outside. I put a little sticker here that lets it be known, a little RE that says med, so let other folks know this is a med kit. It's at the very top of my kit. It's another indicator, it's super important. On the outside is a Leatherman Raptor tool. They make a lot of knockoffs of these now, and I saw testing of the knockoffs. They seem to be fine. I have the actual tool itself because I get a discount with Leatherman if you're a vet. It just kind of makes sense. I like the Leatherman Raptor tool because it's a pair of scissors, it's a ruler, it's a seatbelt cutter, and it is a glass breaker all built into one. So you got the seatbelt cutter here if you need that with a little gut hook. And of course, you have a little measurement of ruler. I don't know when in the world I would ever need that, but it is built into this thing as well. And it overall, it's actually a pretty nice item if you ever just want to EDC it. You can run it directly with a pocket clip if you want to. You can use this as a glass breaker. And I think these are just really well made. They cut through jeans very easily, shirts, different trousers, nylons. So if you get a knockoff, just make sure at a minimum, it can cut through many different articles of clothing. Make sure that the actual shears are something that you can resharpen. So like these, I can access these and resharpen these while they're in the field. by completely opening them up. Some of the knockoffs have an open radius of like that. It's going to be hard to sharpen. These are going to be easily be able to be sharpened. So if you get a knockoff, just make sure it's something that's going to be something that you can actually resharpen, and it's not going to be a complete headache, especially if you're using this for other tasks. Like you may decide to use these shears to process meat at your site. So if you process a hog, you can use this to cut meat. It will work just fine for stuff like that very easily. It has its actual own holster that it comes with, or you can run it directly on there. I keep it in the holster just because I want to. And then this specific bag by VanQuest, I'll link it up. I don't remember which model this is. It has a full clamshell opening, and this is a mixture of DIY with the actual kit from Urban Medical Gear. So the very top, I love buying these actual kits from Adventure Medical kits. I like to buy the kit number 3. They have different kits. Every kit is built the same way for that number system. For the number 3, the items inside are all predictable. So it's gonna have the same gauze, the same Band-Aids, whatever. And then I open the kit up and I throw additional stuff inside. So the kit I have thrown is like Advil, aspirin, non-ibuprofen, just stuff like that, allergy pills, stuff that my family specifically needs, especially allergy pills. I have to throw that in here. But these are great to have, and if you buy the same exact, my advice is buy the same exact medical kit and you keep it in your different systems, you're always gonna know when you open it, that has a butterfly closure, that has bandages. I added some Advil, I put ibuprofen inside, it has an antiseptic wipe. I know what's in there. Instead of just buying whatever's cheap is on Amazon, I would stick with the same one. You can also register these kits, so when you go to refill it, you get a 50% off the refill. I love these. These are fantastic. I have them all over the place. So then the rest of this kit is more geared towards trauma. So that's really geared towards ouchie boo-boos and headaches and stings from bites and shit like that. This is made for trauma. Something were to happen, if you're using this multi-tool or the knife, you were to cut yourself, tree limb were to fall on you, we need to be able to try to treat that stuff while we're in the field. So that's how this kit is built out. So we got the stuff in here such as Israeli bandages, stuff for sunken chest wounds. We have saline, we have a chem light, we have gloves, just everything that I need in here to treat a wound that's a lot bigger than an ouchie boo-boo. If you decide to build something like this, you need to make sure you know how to use this type of stuff. If you improperly use a chest seal kit, you can actually cause more harm than good, especially if you don't know that you're supposed to plug the exit wound as well as the entry wound. If you don't know how to use a tourniquet properly, you could accidentally injure the person more and possibly not even stop the bleeding. So if you build a trauma kit, ensure that you actually know how to use the crap that you have. Israeli bandages, SWAT tourniquets, regular tourniquets, whatever you decide to have. I've seen a lot of people that kind of make these, and I'm kind of a little iffy on their ability to use the crap. Of course, the Marine Corps does not have medics, but we were basic trained on how to use our IFAKs. This is basically a bigger extension of an IFAK. All right, so kind of next to that, we do keep a bunch of rope. Now, this is high quality climbing rope, and I got this from Randa's Adventure Company. I actually the one thing I like about this, I have 3 or 4 spools of this stuff. It's strong enough to be able for me to use it for climbing purposes, but that's highly unlikely. The main reason I wanted this is I wanted the color, but I really wanted it for our location, for if I need to hang stuff we have trees and stuff out there. And I know 550 Core has a 550 pound test, but I wanted something that can just really last in the weather for a very, very long time. So I have a Random Adventure Company climbing carabiner. So this is designed specifically for climbing. And I have a lot of rope for whatever we may need it for. If we need to actually use our canoes or boating systems that we have out there, we can use this to tie those down. Just real rope is nice to have, not always just having paracord only, especially if you ever have to do anything, major repairs or major climbing, you have that type of stuff. So in our actual bug out kits, we keep winter MREs, which have more calories, and those are really gonna be good for sitting down, if you have time to warm up water and make the meals and has dessert and all that type of stuff is fantastic. But in a pinch, you also have the Daytrex, these little systems here. These things work just fine. They don't taste the best, but these are emergency rations. These last for days. One of these kits can normally last you about, so you eat 1 bar every 6 hours. And I think there are 6 or 7 bars in here. This can last you a couple of days. I have a couple of these in this bag, and then I have more in our other additional kits. Another thing, open them up, eat them, see if you're gonna like it. If you don't like it, try another emergency ration. I want you to live, but also don't want you to hate the food so much that you go towards the brink of starvation. Has plenty of calories in per bar, like 200 calories per bar to kind of keep you going. Now, I have the actual the Grail water bottle, which I intend to use, but for some reason, if there's just no creek, no building that I can tap into for a water source or whatever, then we have emergency drinking water in every single bug out kit. Now these are a little bit different because you're supposed to not drink water for the first 24 hours, and then you're supposed to sip on these things slowly. These taste horrible, but they will keep you alive. And you're going to want to drink these very slow. There's about 4 ounces of water in each of these, and then they have a very explicit expiration date. So these are actually going to be going bad in July. So make sure you take maintenance of your kit. These are bad in July 2024. So I'll be scrapping these around then. But these are really good if you just have no water sources whatsoever. You can't tap into a building, a creek, or whatever. You have emergency drinking water to go along with it. But I do not want to drink those. They taste horrible. I don't know what they do to make them shelf life for so long, but whatever the case may be. Now, the next set of items kind of go along with one another. These are kits that you can buy prepackaged, and I would recommend, unless you just love putting together these type of emergency adventure kits, buy a prepackaged kit. Whether you buy a kit from somebody like Best Glide ASC, or you buy a kit from like Randall Adventure Company, whatever, they sell a lot of these prepackaged kits, and all they really are is just kits that you buy, and it has a bunch of survival items inside. This kit is pretty pricey. It's over $200, and it basically has everything that the Best Glide has in it, except for this. This includes one of Essie's knives, and I think that's why it makes it cost more, because it does include a Essie Kangaroo. But if you already have a knife on you, you don't need to spend the additional money. You can just get the Best Glide ASE advanced kit. They have I think a beginner or basic kit, and then they have the advanced kit. This thing is still less than 200 bucks. Ranger band helps keep it closed, and Ranger bands are flammable, but you're gonna wanna keep Ranger bands with you if you can. But these kind of go hand in hand. This thing is barely full. This is a Max Expedition. I can't remember if this is a fatty or a beefy, but I keep this basically empty for a specific reason. Now these type of tins are full of all sorts of stuff inside, but it does have like a basic survival fishing kit. So you got that. You also have a small blinking green light. We have a little bit of marking tape. So if you're trying to be seen from the air, if you're trying to mark trees as you're going through, you have that. Some snare wire. This is, I think, 21 gauge snare wire. So you can use it for snares. You can use it for making traps. These are paper towels. When you actually wet these rehydrate themselves, and they get really, really big, and they turn back into paper towels. That could be extremely useful. We also have this is a soy wax candle. So you can use this if you want a light source, but you can also use it for a fire source, and it burns for a very long time. It's made a little bit different than the small tea candles that you buy at the store. A very small sewing kit. This bag, I don't think this bag is sewable. I don't think if I had a rip or a tear in this bag, I'm gonna be able to patch it. But my clothing or whatever we're wearing, we might be able to use it for that. So the sewing kit itself is only a small patch, and then it has the needles wrapped inside of it. But I don't really think this bag is super repairable. And that's another thing when I see these sewing kits. If you're rocking like a 500D or 1000D cord, you're not gonna be sewing that up. At least I'm not gonna be sewing it up. So in here, this is my fire starting area. So in here is everything I need to start a fire. So you'd have a little bit of like this fire starting gel that you can expose for individual fires. It does have these little Baddest Bee fire fuses. You can use half a fuse or a whole fuse. We have tinder in here. And we have another ferro rod, a smaller version of the one that's on my bigger knife. And then at the very bottom is just 2 sets of emergency matches. So This is all just being able to start a fire. All of this stuff is kept in a Light My Fire of Sweden. They make really good fire products. They make really good ferro rods. And they seem to work well, even if they've been used a lot or if they're wet. But I keep everything in one little fire starting kit so I can know I can grab this entire thing and everything is where it should be. And I have no issues whatsoever. So also in here is a signaling mirror. And it also has an eye relief, so you can actually put this up to your eye. If you're on a horizon, you can still use it. So a lot of these signaling mirrors don't have eye relief where you can stick your eye through, so that doesn't make sense to me. So make sure you get one that has an eye relief. This is by Endure. Endure makes fantastic products overall. So here is a lens here. You can use this for fire starting. It also has, this is by Rando Adventure Company, has a little basic skills. So that marking tape that I had earlier, it tells you how to use that marking tape on the very back of this. And also that tiny survival guide tells you how to use the marking tape. In here is another small, this is a Rando's Adventure Company, just like a small other techniques that you can get, like small cards that you can use with you. They're all waterproof. You can use them in the rain, but just different things, how to use a poncho or a tarp as a tent, how to use evasion and escape techniques, just different reminder cards, things to read to pass the time. A lot of times bugging out and sleeping outside and sleeping in different places, a lot of times it's just about passing mundane tasks and passing the time. And I think that's all very important. So of course we have different ways to, I'm all about purifying water, drinking water, portable agua. These are the water purification tablets. This is not gonna help you at all with the chunky shit. This is going to help you with killing the toxins in the water, but the chunky stuff in the water is going to be better with a water filtration bottle. But you can use this in tandem if that's what you have on you. You also have a little bit more survival book here. This is, like I said, this comes in the kit, and then additional items I added. So that fire starting stuff, I know I added stuff to that. A lot of this stuff just comes with the kit itself. So a bunch more survival cards, how to read a map, how to lay this on top of it, just a lot of different things that helps you out with that as well. A small straight razor, and I like the fact you have a small straight razor. You can use this for cooking tasks, not gunk up your main knife. Maybe you can use, this could be a dedicated knife for cooking tasks or whatever. That's pretty smart to have that as well. This is a Mini Master. This is a multi-tool, very small multi-tool, and it has a pair of scissors on it, which is my favorite part. Has a slotted screwdriver, a small saw. I don't think this is going to be the most capable thing ever, but if you have nothing at all, then to have a bottle opener and a small a saw and a knife, this is just very small, useful. You can even keep this on your keychain if you wanted to. Another one of these MP600s. Now this one doesn't have the C4 feature on it, and because it does not have that, it actually includes the a serrated blade. So it just kind of depends which one you decide to buy for what features you're going to get. It still includes the file. The file on this one is actually a little bit better. So MP600, they come in multiple variants. This one's also made in America. The tool set on the pliers are different. So you have the long nose, you have regular pliers in here instead of the crimping, and you have the replaceable wire cutters. So I think these are really, if you don't want to get the C4 one because it's just too specialty for you, get the regular MP600. You won't be mad about that at all. Duct tape, plenty of duct tape. If you have to seal a door, MacGyver some stuff, it comes with duct tape. A little bit of rubber band, which is probably for that sewing kit. Then you also have some Kevlar tripwire. This is a little bit stronger. This has an 84-pound test, 85 feet or 26 meters of Kevlar tripwire. Use this for snares. A little bit more fungible than this snare wire. This is not as fungible as the Kevlar stuff. Then we have a bunch of aluminum foil. You can use this for fishing lures. You can use this for cooking purposes. And then it also includes a tiny pocket survival guide. Now, the reason I say that these kits go together is because you can use this entire thing for cooking or boiling water. But if you use it for cooking or boiling water, especially if you use it for cooking, it's going to look horrible. I used this for cooking recently when I went out and I did some rucking. I stayed overnight somewhere. There's no way I would want to put my survival items back in one of these tins. There's no way. So because of that, I keep a beefy with me because this beefy can fit everything that I just took out inside of it. I have something in the beefy right now, which can easily just be pulled out. This is actually a very large orange tarp, and it's high visibility. It has grommets inside of it, so you can use it for a windbreak. You can use it as a rain cover. You can use it all sorts of ways. Lightweight, I like the fact that it's high vis just in case I need it. The very front, I have another Write in the Rain notebook. This one specifically by Random Adventure Companies because it has a survival. You see the theme of like survival tips and jogging your memory for stuff. Super important for that. The only other thing in here is an indoor blanket, which we have these in all sorts of our kits. This is the huge one. This one can cover my entire body. Basically, if I'm in the fetal position, it doesn't break easily like the cheaper ones. And then once this thing is empty, everything that's in this kit can go into this pouch, even if I got to stuff it in here, which means that I can now use this for cooking or boiling water and not be like, oh man, I'm SOL. I just got to put all this stuff loose in my bag. I hate stuff loose in my bags. Get home or bug out. I don't like it. So it's just important to me. So behind that is some zip ties. And then here, this is just something that's complete overkill. You don't need something like this. I have it. This is by Infrared. And this is literally a small device here that plugs into an iPhone. And this allows for you to read heat signatures. It's basically night vision. You plug this into your phone. You can see heat signatures in a tree line. It sees animals, people. It works like, I think it works up to 200 or 300 meters. It works really well. It has an extension cable. So if you want to keep this, not have to put the phone up to your face, you can actually plug this into this thing and then run it so that it runs. You can actually kind of use it away from the phone itself and kind of put it in different areas. This is overkill. You don't need something like this. But when I roll up onto my bug out location, which is wooded area, I want to shine the tree line with this and see if there's somebody up there that may be waiting for us. So that's why I have it. It's absolutely not needed. All right, so next to that, I talked about the GeoPress, which is great for on-the-fly water drinking. But once we get to where we're going, on our bug out location are two tanks. We call ponds tanks in Texas. One is completely full of bass and catfish. The other one, not so much, but if we have to use those for water sources, I need ways to store lots of water and I need ways to filter lots of water. So that's what this entire kit is for. So I have a Frontier straw, which I would prefer not to use. But for whatever reason, if it came down to it, you could use a Frontier straw. This is exactly like, I think their competitor's Life Straw or whatever. You put this in here, you put this to the actual drinking source and you drink the water directly from the drinking source. I would prefer not to do that, but if you had to, you had to. I have a bunch of these whirly bags that I keep in here. These are good for keeping water in. So once I gather the water, and I actually filter the water, you can just keep standing. You can keep these at your campsite and keep filtered water in so you don't have to leave filtered water in the filtration system. So tons of these bags around, so you can use these for cooking or whatever. We have more of these like small filtration tablets that we talked about earlier. We keep them directly in this kit. Has instructions on how to use them inside. And then you have more of the whirly bags. And then we have the actual water filtration system itself. I don't know how many uses this thing is for, but you can backwash this. So we have the actual filter itself. So once you get so as you pump the water through, you can get the water to go into your water source. And then once you have this full, you can dump it into these whirly bags. And then you have this for actually backwashing the filter, which is a good thing so that you can actually use this filter over and over. You're gonna wanna backwash it, I think after every 5 or 10 gallons, but a complete backwash system, more whirly bags, and the chunky stuff is what we have a coffee filter for. Only one coffee filter. Hopefully there's more in my other bug out bags, but this is our water filtration like kit that we would have for filtering water over and over on our site for whatever reason. Hopefully this is not hackneyed. I've thought about investing in one of the larger water filtration bug things that you can keep like near a creek, and it does like 200-300 gallons of water before you need to get a new one. But for now, this is gonna be the go-to for us before we have to like resort to boiling water and only drinking out of GeoPress. This will get old drinking out of a GeoPress over and over again. So the pouch, the bag itself if you look in there, it has pockets on the inside of this thing, and the pockets are useful for carrying things that you want quick access to, but you may not use all the time. So I bought one of these recently, the Gerber Devourer went on sale. I bought 3 more of these things that gives everybody at my campsite something to eat with. It also has a built-in multi-tool that allows for this thing to kind of sit on a surface and not have to actually be touching the surface, but it has a side of here. Technically, you can use it for digging. I don't know who's going to be using it for that, but you can. And it has a bottle opener, can opener, just very easily. If you get your fire started, you don't want to put your face, especially I got dreadlocks, anywhere near the fire to actually blow and get the fire going better. So I keep a blower in here to help the fire go on, especially if it's starting to fail a little bit. We have a Silcock key. Now, this key I talked about earlier, tapping into a side of a building or something like that. That's what this is going to be for. You ever walked up to the side of a building and see a water spigot, but you can't turn it on? This thing will help you turn it on. That way you can put it right in your geo and keep walking. Those are so inexpensive. It's just no reason to keep one of those. Not even keep them like this in your truck or something like that. You might as well. So I keep an additional pencil. This is a larger pencil, and I keep the actual lead part covered with this little cover at the bottom. But for writing, you can use the shavings of a pencil as a fire source, and you have a writing device. And then I keep a work sharp. This is a field sharpener in here. I can use it. It's probably too small for the hatchet, the axe that I have in here, but this is going to be decent for the Montana Knife Company or the pocket knife I might have on me, or any of the tools that are on the multi-tools for sharpening purposes. So I like the fact that's smart. I might upgrade to the guided field sharpener because I think they go on sale pretty often. Now, this is one of my favorite items, a spool of 550 cord. But the thing about this thing, it has a cutter built in. So you can actually use this up here and cut the paracord. And then at the very bottom, it has a compartment for a lighter. So once you cut the paracord, you can light it, burn it, and it's kind of like all built into one versus having to remember your fire source. And of course, it's nice to have a fire source nearby, and it has a built-in keep for the 550 cord. So this is gonna like be a pain in the ass having 550 cord. Once this is out, just roll a new spool around it. This is very, very nice to have. That is it. So this thing kind of gets down to pretty small overall. I know there's a lot of other things that you guys can put into a bug out kit. I'm plenty sure you guys got plenty of ideas. Put those down below. I would love to know, what do you put in your bug out kits? What am I missing for mine? I've rucked mine, I've tested mine, I've camped with mine. I know mine works, okay? So it works for me. It may not work for you. My most recommended would be try to get some of these prepackaged med kits and survival kits and build around it. That would be my most recommended thing. But what would you recommend most? If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.